Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the World of Wrestling podcast. I'm Slim. Once again, Kyle couldn't join us. Again, we're hoping he'll be back soon. So this week we will start with AEW Double or Nothing, because I didn't get to cover that last week because I hadn't watched it at the time I recorded, which is usually around 4:30 p.m. on a Sunday, Australian time. So we'll get right into it with Double or Nothing. So on the pre-show, we got Private Party versus the Best Friends in a number one contenders match for the tag titles. It was a good match. It was very back and forth. There was a few mistakes, but in the end, the Best Friends ended up winning by pinfall after hitting Strong Zero on Quinn. The main show then started with the AEW roster thanking all the first responders and also saying that Shad has died. We then get a video package hyping the show, and then the main show kicks off with the Casino ladder match between Darby Allin, Scorpio Sky, Frankie Kazarian, Joey Janela, Orange Cassidy, Luchasaurus, Kip Sabian, Colt Cabana, and a mystery competitor who it is revealed to be Brian Cage, and he has Taz with him. Before the match, Joe Janela, Kip Sabian with Ford and Havoc, CD, Orange Cassidy with the Best Friends all have promos saying that they're going to win, or in CD's case that one of the members of SCU is going to win. So the match starts with Frankie Kazarian and Scorpio Sky in. Every 2 minutes a new competitor comes out. So in 2 minutes time, Kip Sabian comes out with Penelope Ford and Jimmy Havoc. Then Darby Allin came out, Orange Cassidy then came out, then Colt Cabana came out, then Joey Janela, then Luchasaurus came out after that, and we came down to the final participant, which is obviously the mystery, who is Brian Cage, who has Taz with him. During the match, the Best Friends ended up coming out to take out Jimmy Havoc. Marco Stunt came out to help Luchasaurus as well. It was a very good, fun match. Brian Cage won after taking out Darby, then climbing the ladder to grab the poker chip. Brian Cage wasn't in there for very much of it because they ended up burying him under a whole bunch of things. Like, it took everyone in the match to do it. But then he just sort of powered it, like he sort of rose up from the dead sort of thing and got back in the ring. Put Darby on a ladder, which he then fell off of, but then put him back on there, picked up the ladder, and launched it into another ladder, which was over the top rope. Darby also at one stage tried to hit, I don't know, he came off the top of a ladder with his skateboard and straight onto a bridged ladder, and I can't remember who it was that was on the ladder. It might have been Kip Sabian. Rolled out of the way anyway, and that really hurt Darby Allin's leg, which I do believe was the reason why he didn't end up climbing the whole way up the ladder before Brian Cage got to him. So, yeah, it was a good match though. Commentary then runs down the rest of the card, and then we get MJF with Wardlow versus Jungle Boy. During the match, MJF fakes an injury to his knee, and that helps him take advantage. But at that point in time, it didn't help him win. It was a pretty good match. MJF won by pinfall after a series of pins, and he got Jungle Boy in a modified European clutch for the 3. I know that because I said it on commentary. Then we get the finals of the TNT Championship Tournament between Cody with Arn Anderson and Lance Archer with Jake Roberts. And Iron Mike Tyson is presenting the belt. It was a great match. Cody won by pinfall after hitting 2 crossroads. Really thought that Lance Archer was going to win, but he didn't. And I'm sad about that. But Tyson thought that Murderhawk's entrance was great. That was funny. Yeah. When Archer tossed out the person that he normally tosses out during his entrance, Mike Tyson sort of looking at it going, "Oh, that's awesome." So yeah, pretty funny. Then we get an update on Britt Baker's injury, and Doc Sampson says she's got multiple injuries to her leg, but the patient is worse than what the injuries are. We then get Penelope Ford with Kip Sabian, who comes out on crutches, versus Chris Statlander. It was a good match. Statlander wins by a pinfall after hitting the Big Bang Theory. Then we get Shawn Spears versus Dustin Rhodes with Brandy Rhodes. Prior to the match, it appeared that Dustin wasn't at the show, and Spears came out wearing a suit and everything. And he cuts a promo saying that Dustin's not here, and so he wants Aubrey to count out Dustin. Brandy comes out during the count, and Dustin appears behind Shawn Spears. It was a short match. It was good for its length, but it was really fun. We ended up getting Shawn Spears in nothing but his boxers, which had Tully. It had Tully's face on it. It was funny. Dustin won by pinfall after hitting the final reckoning. We then get a video package for All Out, and then we get a graphic saying that Hana Kimura's died. Then it's the no DQ, no countout match for the AEW Women's Championship between Nyla Rose and Hikaru Shida. Good match. Shida got a kendo stick back and then broke it over Nyla's head before she won by pinfall after a running knee strike. Then we get AEW World Championship match between Jon Moxley and Mr. Brody Lee. It was a really good match. Moxley won by submission after locking in a rear naked choke and making Brody Lee pass out. During the match, Mox hit a paradigm shift on Brody and it sent him through the entrance ramp, which cut Brody's head open. Mox then hit a paradigm shift in the ring and Brody Lee kicked out at 1. Then he hit an elevated paradigm shift for a 2 count, and then he locked in the rear naked, obviously. We then get an ad for the new AEW action figures, and then we get a recap of what's happened so far, and then it's main event time, and it's Stadium Stampede match between Inner Circle and Matt Hardy and the Elite. During the Elite's entrances, Hangman doesn't show up. Inner Circle comes out like an NFL team. During the match, Hangman shows up on a horse, chases Sammy away for a little while. It was absolutely a great match in my opinion. I was going to go through everything that happened, and then I went, it's going to take me like half an hour to read everything that's happened in this one match, so I'll just tell you to watch it, and it's great. It's one of the best things I've seen all year. Probably, is it as good as the Boneyard match? Because it was better than the Funhouse match and the Money in the Bank match. I don't know. I think it might be better than the Boneyard match. So, yeah, it was really, really good. Matt Hardy and the Elite ended up winning by pinfall after Omega hits the one-winged angel on Sammy Guevara from the seats onto a platform on the field for the 3 count. Post-match, Omega and Hangman get a Gatorade bath. The show closes with the Elite and Matt Hardy posing with fireworks going off behind them. And that was that for Double or Nothing, so we'll move straight on to Raw, which starts with a Memorial Day package. The show then starts properly with commentary running down the card, and NXT superstars are in the crowd this week. I think that they're in the crowd indefinitely now too, I do believe, so I might not point that out next week because I think it's indefinitely. I might point it out next week just to tell you that they were in there this week, well, next week, so that going forward I don't have to tell you, because if they're in there next week then it's indefinite. We then start the show with the Kevin Owens show. His guest is Asuka. Kev asks for Asuka's reaction to what happened with Nia last week. Asuka says something Japanese and Charlotte interrupts. Charlotte says that the Raw Women's Championship should have been handed to her, and Asuka's never beaten her. And then Natalya interrupts. Kev says he took care of everything so Natty can't break anything, and Natalya apologises. Charlotte says nothing's going to help Natty win the match, and that she's irrelevant. Nia then interrupts, says that she's going to be the next Raw Women's champ. Owens gets out of the ring, and Nia says she's going to bulldoze through Asuka. Owens tells Asuka not to hit Nia in the face, so she does, and Natalya brawls with Charlotte. We then get a backstage interview with Apollo, and he says he's going to win the US title. Then we get Andrade with Zelina Vega versus Apollo for the US title. During the match, we get a backstage interview with Angel Garza, who says that having a match is like making love. That was really weird, but I guess that's Angel Garza's thing. It was a good match. Apollo Crews won by pinfall after hitting a gorilla press slam, then a standing moonsault, then a standing shooting star press, and he got the 3 off that, thusly winning the US Championship. Post-match, we get an in-ring interview with Apollo Crews, who says that people said he can't do it, but now he's done it. Backstage, Andrade is wrecking shit. Rollins has raised mask too. We come back and break and we see that Rollins has raised mask. He says something, I'm pretty sure, but it wasn't important. But then Rollins has a backstage interview and says that he's a better man and has to thank Ray. We then see what happened to Ray a couple of weeks ago. Rollins says that Ray was a sacrifice for him. He says that the act that Ray gave was a courageous act before being flanked by Murphy and Theory. Murphy says that he was needed a leader like Rollins to help him out. Theory says that he was abandoned and Rollins found him. Rollins then says that they will show Ray what he helped create when Murphy and Theory take on Black and Humberto Carrillo. We then get a backstage interview with Charlotte. Charlotte is asked what she thinks about being a double champ. Charlotte says nobody compares to her before Asuka shows up. Oh, hang on. Let me just re-say that. Charlotte says nobody compares to her. I missed the her. Then Asuka shows up. Says that red's not Charlotte's colour. And I'm about to sneeze. Oh, shit. Iconics are out next. They apologise to each other and say that they were overlooked as champs. And they challenge Bliss and Cross, who came out. And Bliss says the Iconics wasted their opportunity. Cross says that she had nothing when she came to WWE. And Bliss has helped her focus. Iconics then attack Bliss and Cross, hit the reverse magic killer on Cross, and hold the belts up high before dropping them onto Bliss and Cross. MVP is then backstage. Lana shows up and says that they need to talk. MVP says, no, they don't. Oh, no, we don't. And then he walked off. Because we then get the VIP lounge. MVP introduces McIntyre. McIntyre gets in the ring, tosses out all the couches, and then asks where Lashley is. MVP says Lashley won't touch Drew until Backlash. They then talk about what happened last time Drew was on the VIP lounge, and they also talk about how long it took for Drew and Lashley to get the first world title matches. Drew says the only way Lashley is taking the title is from his cold dead hands. MVP says that can be arranged, and Lashley comes out but doesn't get in the ring, so MVP gets claymore. Backstage interview with Natalya next, who says she needs to take a call from Tyson Kidd. comes back to do the interview and she's told that they're out of time. She then looks sad. And I don't care. Kevin Owens then comes out for his match against Garza with Vega. During Owens' entrance, Garza attacks Owens. It was a decent match. Garza won by pinfall with the wing clipper and then attacked Owens again post-match, which was surprising. I like Garza, so I'm happy. But, I mean, technically, Owens beat Rollins at Mania, so I don't think that Garza should have beaten him there. I think it should have been one of those sort of Garza puts up a hell of a fight things, but Owens wins because he's the biggest star. Because you could build Garza up that way and eventually have him turn face. Because we've seen on NXT that he could be a face if he wanted to. So, yeah. We then have a look at everything. We then have a look at everything you can do. We can do better rivalry between the Profits and the Raiders. Before getting the golf game between the two, they both get disqualified before going to miniature golf, and Profits win, and Ivar attempts to fight a gator, which was funny. And the other thing that was funny was that the Viking Raiders thought that the highest score wins, before being told no, the lowest score wins. So that's why Ivar went to fight a gator. Backstage, Lana shows up with some ice for MVP. MVP has a go at Lana for thinking that it's a joke before he and Lashley walk off, and Lana cracks the shits. Then we get Theory and Murphy versus Black and Carrillo. Theory and Murphy are accompanied by Seth Rollins. During the match, during Theory and Murphy's entrance, we have a look at what happened last week to get Theory to join Rollins. It was a pretty good match. It was fast-paced. Theory got the pin on Carrillo after hitting the ATL. Post-match, Theory and Murphy attack Black and Carrillo. Rollins then says that they both need to back off. That being Black and Carrillo, not Murphy and Theory. Edge is then backstage and he says that he took the bait and now he's doubting himself, but at Backlash he's going to try. Raiders and Profits are backstage, and Raiders say that they let the Profits win, and the Profits say that they can pick the next challenge, and they pick bowling. MVP shows up and challenges the Profits to a tag team match. I'd say that Raiders are going to win bowling because then it's 2-2, and then match number 5 is going to be at Backlash. And it's actually going to be a match for the tag belts, and Raiders are going to win. Asuka comes out to join commentary for the triple threat match for the number 1 contenders ship for the Rollins title. That's very hard to say. The match is between Charlotte, Nia Jax, and Natalya. It was okay because none of them are particularly good in the match. Sloppy at places, which is obvious with Charlotte, Nia, and Natalya in the ring. Nia ended up winning by pinfall after hitting a Samoan drop on Natalya, which we already knew was going to happen because it was always going to be Nia versus Asuka at Backlash. So, that's sort of obvious. Drew then gets a backstage interview where he asked if he knows that Lashley has a match later, and he says no, but he just remembered that he forgot something, so he has a feeling that he's not going to find it until Lashley's match is over. Oh no. We then see how Gronk won the 24/7 title. Then Truth cuts a promo saying that Tom Brady isn't the 24/7 champ, but Gronk is. Gronk then cuts a promo telling Truth that he's ready for him. Although the promo that Gronk cut he wasn't looking at the camera. He was sort of just looking below the camera, clearly reading what he had to say. And yeah. We then get MVP and Lashley backstage. They have an interview. MVP is asked why he challenged the Profits. MVP responds by pointing at Lashley and saying that's why. Ric Flair is on the Tron next, and he says that Orton's going to beat Edge at Backlash. Which, as soon as it was announced that Ric Flair's going to talk about the Edge Orton match, I sort of went, he's just going to say that Orton's going to win because Orton was a part of Evolution. So, yeah. Liv Morgan is on next. She says that she never felt good enough, but when she got her first piece of wrestling gear with her name on it, she found what she was missing, and now she's living her best life. And then we get the main event, and it's the Street Profits versus Lashley and MVP. During the Profits' entrance, they show what happened after Lashley and MVP left, after talking to Profits. Decent match. Profits won by DQ after they hit cash out on MVP. Lashley took out Dawkins, locked in the full Nelson on Ford, causing the DQ because I believe the ref counted to 5, which can only be in there for 5 seconds, unless you're in AEW. And so that's how he got disqualified. It wasn't, he was just that he was the illegal man that was in the ring for too long. Wasn't anything stupid. Post-match, McIntyre comes out, they start brawling, him and Lashley that is, until the NXT guys come out and come from the barricade, which has plexiglass on it, so they've got to go actually out and around. So then they come out to break it up, and some of them get taken out before, but yeah, pull apart brawl. We'll move on to Being the Elite, which had a match on it this week, which was a backyard brawl with Private Party versus the Demon Man. Good match. It was pretty fun. The match ended after Private Party decided that Demon Man had had enough. So, yeah, they sort of brawled with him for a long time. I think it started when they were trying to get like $12 off the top of a roof or something like that, and they had to climb a ladder very slowly, and I've almost got it, so they're just sort of flicking the notes, and then they got pulled down and whatnot, and there was a teddy bear at some point, and I think that we're getting part 2 next week. I don't know, I'll have to wait and watch it and see, and if there's another part of it and there's another match and whatnot, I will obviously review it here. But we'll move on to AEW Dark. This week's episode goes for about an hour and a half, has 10 matches. And yes, for every episode of Dark, I will try to transition to each match differently. I don't know why I picked Dark to do it, but I did, and so that's what I'm going to do. I do believe next week's one will be shorter, because I'm pretty sure it's only got 5 matches in it. So technically, if this one goes for an hour and a half, that will mean that it'll be a 45-minute show. But who knows. So before Dark starts, Taz says that he's not going to talk about his business relationship with Brian Cage. And then we get the first match, which is Dark Order members John Silver and Alexa Reynolds versus the Natural Nightmares with Brandy Rhodes. During the match, Ali shows up and eats an apple in front of QT Marshall, even though Ali's way back in the stands. It distracts QT, and well, he's very distracted now. Even on Dynamite, he was very distracted by Ali. I don't know. It was a good match. Natural Nightmares won by pinfall after a Canadian Destroyer by Dustin, followed by a Diamond Cutter by QT and Silver for a 3 count. Next we get Michael Nakazawa versus Brandon Cutler. Decent match. Nakazawa won by countout. Post-match, Peter Avalon and Leva Bates come out, and Avalon says that Cutler is the worst wrestler in AEW. Cutler says that Avalon will be the worst wrestler in AEW. Then we get Peter Avalon with Leva Bates versus Jungle Boy with Luchasaurus and Marco Stunt, and Brandon Cutler's on commentary. During the match, Marco kisses Leva, which distracts Avalon. It was a good match. Jungle Boy won by submission after locking in the STS, which I believe is just the STF. Next up is Serpentico versus Christopher Daniels. Good match. CD won by pinfall after hitting the BME. After that, it's Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss versus John Skyler and Brady Pierce. Decent match. Kiss and Janela won after Janela hit the elbow drop on Skyler. Up next is Tony Donati and Fabu Andre versus Kip Sabian and Jimmy Havoc with Penelope Ford. Good match. Havoc and Sabian won by pinfall after Kip and Havoc, because I wrote Kip and Sabian, so Kip and Havoc hit a dropkick Michinoku driver combo for a 3 count. A big match between two big men next, and it's Wardlow with MJF versus Grimm. MJF is on his phone for the start of the match. Pretty much squash. Wardlow won by KO after sending Grimm from the top rope into his knee. Post-match, Wardlow hit the F10. Then we have Colt Cabana versus Lee Johnson. Good match. Colt won by submission with the Billy Goat's Curse. Then it's Kylan King, something like that, versus Penelope Ford with Kip Sabian. Decent match. Ford won by pinfall after hitting a handspring cutter. And it's main event time, and it's Sean Dean and Alan Angels versus the Best Friends with Orange Cassidy. Good match. Best Friends won by pinfall after they hit Strong Zero on Angels. Post-match, Orange goes to leave, but the ref tells him to come back to join the celebration, which was pretty funny. And since it's the end of Dark, we'll move to Dynamite, and this week's show starts with a recap of what happened at Double or Nothing, obviously. Then backstage, Y2J says that they're going to have an Inner Circle pet rally and that they need to get rid of the Stadium Stampede Champion shirts that they ordered. And they thought that they only ordered a couple of boxes when Santana says he got a good deal, and so he got a truckload. And that's quite funny. Commentary then runs down the card. And the first match of the night is Matt Hardy and the Young Bucks versus Private Party and Joey Janela. During Janela and the Private Party's entrance, we get a promo with Hardy and the Elite and Hangman and Omega. Okay? That doesn't make sense. Hardy and the Elite. That's right. We get one with Hardy and the Elite. I screwed up my notes there. So it's meant to be Hardy and the Elite, Hangman and Omega leave the Bucks, and Matt to go back to the hotel to watch the show, because then they can get on the piss and the milk, depending on who you are. Bucks ask for a different Matt Hardy, and we get OG Matt Hardy. During the match, Nick Jackson accidentally hits Blade with a super kick, because Blade was in the crowd, so was Butcher. So he went for a super kick on Janela, he got out of the way, and Blade got hit the super kick. Butcher and Blade attacked Nick until Matt made the save. Quen hurt his ankle during the match too, which distracted Cassidy enough to allow the Bucks to hit more bang for your buck and Matt to make the cover, giving Matt Hardy and the Elite the win by pinfall. Post-match, Butcher and Blade attack the Young Bucks and FTR make the save and have a stare down with the Young Bucks, which is awesome because FTR is awesome. For those of you who don't know, that's what the Revival are calling themselves now. Up next is Brian Cage with Taz versus Lee Johnson, and Moxley's on commentary. It was a squash match for Cage. Cage won by pinfall with the Drill Claw. Post-match, Taz says he respects Mox, but at Fyter Fest he'll need to bring all of his fight, grit, and heart, but Cage will tear Moxley's heart out. Next up is Britt Baker, who comes out in a wheelchair that has role model written in diamonds on the back, and she's talking about the rules of being a role model. This week we cover rule number 3. Britt calls Statlander a fraud. Hang on, no. She calls Statlander an alien, sort of. I think. No, hang on. What have I written? Britt says that Statlander. Oh yeah. Britt says that Statlander's full of shit because she thinks she's an alien. She says that Sheeta is a cheater and a fraudulent champ, and she carries a weapon. She says that Nyla meant to land on Britt's leg last week, and Aubrey told Sheeta, Statlander, and Nyla to break Britt's leg because they're all conspirators against Britt. Britt also says that she'll be back by All Out. Inner Circle have a backstage interview next where they talk about what's going to happen at the pep rally, and while Y2J is talking, Orange Cassidy walks through the interview. He just sort of walks through it and then looks at everybody, turns around and walks away. Next match is Christy James versus Hikaru Shida. Decent match. Wasn't a squash, but Shida wasn't going to lose. Shida won by pinfall after hitting the Falcon Arrow. Cody and Arn Anderson are out next to talk to Tony Schiavone. Cody says that he's the first TNT champion. Cody says that he has a lot of grit, and every week he'll defend the TNT championship in open challenges, apart from this week because he's not defending it this week, and next week because the winner of the Over the Top Rope Battle Royal that comes later is going to challenge him next week. So, yeah. Next is a tag team match to determine who challenges for the tag championships next week between Kip Sabian and Jimmy Havoc with Penelope Ford versus SCU, and it's Sky and Kaz. Yeah, so this is technically a number 1 contenders match, but it's confirmed that whoever wins this match will face Best Friends at Fyter Fest. Before the match, Kip Sabian and Jimmy Havoc attack SCU. It was a pretty good match. Sabian and Havoc win by pinfall after Ford held the foot of Kaz when SCU went for SCU later. Sabian took out Kaz, then Sabian and Havoc hit the dropkick Michinoku driver combo for a 3 count on Scorpio Sky. MJF then has a video promo where he says he's the best and he's going to win the Battle Royal. They announce the main event, and it's the Over the Top Rope Battle Royal for the number 1 contender spot for the for the TNT title. Don't know why I keep trying to call the TNT title the NXT title. In the Battle Royal is MJF, Wardlow, Jungle Boy, Luther, Peter Avalon, Christopher Daniels, Brandon Cutler, Marco Stunt, Luchasaurus, Colt Cabana, Billy Gunn, Sonny Kiss, and Orange Cassidy. Match starts when Orange Cassidy is coming out. During his entrance, Santana and Ortiz attack him. First elimination is Luther by Luchasaurus. Second elimination is Sonny Kiss by Wardlow, and MJF rolls out and attacks Sonny after the elimination. Third eliminated is Colt Cabana by Billy Gunn. Dark Order asks Colt to join them. Fourth and fifth eliminated are Peter Avalon and Brandon Cutler by each other. Sixth eliminated is Christopher Daniels by Marco Stunt. Seventh eliminated is Marco Stunt by Wardlow, and Marco landed on CD. Eighth and ninth eliminated are Billy Gunn and Luchasaurus by MJF and Wardlow. MJF got rid of Billy while Wardlow got rid of Luchasaurus at the same time. MJF also tells Billy to suck it. 10th eliminated is MJF by Jungle Boy. 11th eliminated is Wardlow, who was stunned against the ropes after being hit by the Dynamite Diamond Ring when Orange got out of the way, and Wardlow was eliminated by both Jungle Boy and Orange Cassidy. Last person eliminated was Orange Cassidy by Jungle Boy, which gave Jungle Boy the win. Quick note, multiple times during the match, Marco Stunt tried to eliminate Luchasaurus, who sort of just stood there like, are you serious? You know you can't pick my leg up, so don't even try, but you're my friend, so I won't attack you. Commentary then runs down next week's card. We then get a recap of the Stadium Stampede match. And then to close the show, we get the Inner Circle pep rally. Vicky Guerrero comes out as a cheerleader and introduces the Inner Circle. As Jericho tries to get rid of the shirts, people start throwing them back. Everybody got gifts for each other. Mighty J says he... Oh yeah, that's right. Before I get into this part, Jake Hager's gift was he wrote a poem, and that was very funny. Definitely worth checking out Jake Hager's poem. But then Sammy asks what Chris Jericho truly wants, and he says he truly wants Mike Tyson's head on the platter. Sammy says he couldn't quite get Mike Tyson's head on the platter, so he got some bubbly and a cheese platter, but the bubbly's empty and the cheese platter has bugger all left on it, because Mike Tyson and his entourage got to it, and that was revealed when they were coming out. Jericho demands Tyson to apologise to him for knocking him out 10 years ago on Raw. Don't mention Raw by name, but that's when it happened. And if Tyson doesn't apologise, then Jericho will knock Tyson out. Both sides then start to brawl. The locker room empties to hold them apart. So I'm thinking we're getting Tyson versus Jericho at either All Out, or I was thinking maybe on the cruise next year, because Jericho's announced that there's going to be another cruise. I don't know, we'll have to wait and see, but that's going to be awesome. We'll move on to NXT, and this week's NXT has people not on the show in the crowd. The show starts with the A Block final in the Cruiserweight Championship tournament between Drake Maverick, Kushida, and Jake Atlas. Good match. Maverick did it. He won. Kushida had Atlas in an arm breaker, and Maverick covered Atlas for a 3. Post-match, Phantasma comes out and squares up to Drake before going to the back. We then see Thatcher backstage before getting a replay that shows that Atlas tapped out on the 2 count. So it was 1, 2, Atlas started tapping out. But because of the way that the ref was positioned and Maverick was positioned, you couldn't see the tap out. So, yeah. The Garganos are out next, and Johnny says that the Gargano way isn't about getting rid of people, but about giving opportunities to those who deserve them. Johnny then says that tonight is the first Johnny Gargano Invitational, and his first opponent is Adrian Alanis. We then get Johnny Gargano with Candice LeRae versus Adrian Alanis. Squash match, Gargano won by submission with Gargano escape. Post-match, Keith Lee and Mia Yim make fun of the Dinner with Gargano segment. At the end, Yim says that Candice's favourite thing to cook is takeout, and Tegan Knox walks in with a pizza. She says she had some on the way and takes a piece for the way home, leaving one piece left, and Keith Lee is upset. We then get a backstage interview with Drake Maverick, and he says that they're going to figure out a way to fix that match, whether it's have another match or whatever. Kushida shows up and tells him to win. Drake then tells Kushida when he wins the championship, Kushida gets first shot. Marcel Martel and Fabian Eichner is on next in a video package sort of thing. They say that they will not lose their belts, same as Walter won't lose his belt, and they say that they're going to beat Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan. Next up is Shotzi Blackheart versus Raquel Gonzalez with Dakota Kai. During the match, Kai steals Shotzi's tank and starts destroying it when Nox comes out and stops her. Even later in the match, Candice comes out and argues with Nox, which distracts the referee, allowing Kai to help Gonzalez. Gonzalez wins by pinfall after hitting a side powerbomb thing. Yeah, it was weird. It was sort of I can't even think of any moves they do like that. But yeah, I don't know, it was a side powerbomb thing. We then get a promo package for the takeover match between Balor and Priest. Now it's time for Io Shirai and Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte and Chelsea Green with Robert Stone. Good match. Green and Charlotte won by pinfall after Charlotte rolled up Shirai and used the ropes for 3. Then it's a backstage interview with Garganos, and Johnny says at TakeOver he's taking the North American title away from Keith Lee. Candice also says next week she's going to beat Mia Yim. Then we get the negotiations between Adam Cole and William Regal. Cole says Era deserves a fair shot at the tag belts, and Velveteen Dream never steps foot in NXT again. Regal says Dream deserves another shot at the NXT title. Cole says when he beats Dream at TakeOver, Dream cannot challenge for the NXT title until Cole loses it. Regal says that he accepts, but the match will take place at a different location to the rest of the TakeOver card. So it'll be like a Gargano and Ciampas match. After that, we get a promo package for the Britain Brawlers, who say they're going to take the belt from Imperium. Then we get Leon Ruff versus Tommaso Ciampa. During Ciampa's entrance, Scarlett comes down to watch the match. Squash match for Ciampa, obviously. Ciampa won by pinfall after hitting the fairy tale ending. Post-match, crosses on the Tron and says Ciampa is special. TakeOver is special, but at TakeOver he will make Ciampa feel something he has never felt before. Main event time, and it's the Fight Pit match between Matt Riddle and Timothy Thatcher with Kurt Angle as special guest ref. Very hard-hitting match. Riddle knocks some of Thatcher's teeth out at the start. Good match. Thatcher won by technical submission when he locked in a rear naked choke on Riddle, and Riddle passed out. Pretty much the same way that Moxley retained his AEW championship. We'll move on to NXT UK, which had some unaired matches this week, so I felt like I need to cover them. We kicked the episode off with Finn Balor versus Kenny Williams. This match took place in March, when Balor was going after Walter. Really good match. Balor won by pinfall after hitting the 1916. Next is Nina Samuels versus Rhea Ripley. This took place last year, and it was Rhea Ripley's last match in NXT UK. Decent match. Ripley won by pinfall after hitting the Riptide. Then we get Killian Dane versus Travis Banks. This took place June last year. Good match. day one after hitting the Belfast Blitz, followed by a Vader bomb for the 3. I wasn't entirely sure if the Vader bomb's included in the Belfast Blitz, so I just figured that I'd put both of them there, because then I can't be wrong. We then get a promo with, at the time, NXT Tag Champions Grizzled Young Veterans and Joseph Connors. They say they want to warm up and they will take on the best that the world has to offer. Then at the time NXT Tag Champs Street Profits, it's the call and so they have a friend they would like to invite, and it's Matt Riddle. Off the promo, we get our main event, and it's Grizzled Young Veterans and Joseph Connors versus Street Profits and Matt Riddle. Really good match. Profits and Riddle win after Profits hit the cash out, and Riddle hits the Bro Derek on Connors for the 3 count. We'll move to SmackDown, and the show starts with Renee Young saying that something's happened to Elias, which looks like he got run over by a car. Braun says that a car ran over Elias, and whoever did it left the scene. Cops say that Jeff Hardy did it. They then find Jeff banged up and smelling like alcohol. That they found the car. They found alcohol in the car as well, so he smelled like that. They then arrested Jeff. Backstage, someone says it was an executive sort of thing, like the scene there and the brawls and whatnot. So he was standing there. He says that Jeff and Elias can't compete tonight. AJ says that it's him and Bryan in the finals. Bryan says that they should both get another opponent. AJ says, Sheamus says that he wants Bryan. Corbin says that if Sheamus gets another shot, he wants AJ. Everyone else that was sitting around says they want a shot. AJ said that he doesn't want to compete at all, he just wants a free ride. Years X says, sure, whatever, you can have a free ride. Bryan said he wants a match. So then he said that we'll have a battle royal and the winner faces Bryan later tonight. The winner faces Styles in 2 weeks on SmackDown for the title. This week's SmackDown also has NXT Superstars in the crowd. We then kick the show off properly with the 10-man last chance battle royal for an opportunity to face Daniel Bryan in a semi-finals match in the Intercontinental Championship tournament. Pretty good match. First eliminated is Lince Dorado by King Corbin. Second eliminated is Drew Gulak by King Corbin. Third eliminated is Grand Metalik by King Corbin. Fourth eliminated is Dolph Ziggler by King Corbin. Fifth eliminated is King Corbin by Jey Uso. Sixth eliminated is Cesaro by Shorty G. Seventh eliminated is Shinsuke Nakamura by Shorty G. Eighth eliminated is Shorty G by Cesaro. Last person eliminated was Jey Uso, making Sheamus the winner. Yes, Cesaro was already eliminated when he eliminated Shorty G, but that's because Nakamura had the refs distracted and Cesaro got back in the ring and tossed him out. But then next up we get Sonya Deville cutting a promo where she says that she beat Mandy last week and she's going to beat Lacey tonight. Then Lacey shows up behind her, pushes her to the ground and goes to the ring. Backstage, Shorty G has a go at Cesaro and Nakamura for stealing his opportunity in the Battle Royal. Cesaro tells Shorty G to run along, otherwise they'll have to fight. Shorty G then attacks Cesaro while Nakamura stands by, and Shorty G accepts the match. We then get Lacey Evans versus Sonya Deville. Decent match, nobody won, it was a double count out finish. Promo for the Forgotten Sons next, where they say that they will no longer turn the other cheek and they're coming for blood. Backstage, Bliss and Cross are talking. Cross has a surprise for Bliss when the New Day show up. Also, just a second. During the Battle Royal, for me at least, not sure how everybody else went with it, on Fox 8, obviously, that's where I was watching it. The Battle Royal went to break, but then nothing happened. It just sort of went black for a little while. Then it cut back to the ring, and then it cut to Sonya cutting that promo next. That happened next. Runs through that promo, then it goes to break, and then pretty much straight away cuts back to the ring, and then I think it went back to break again, and then came back properly, and the show just went on from there. But that was very weird, and yeah. We then, after the backstage thing with Bliss and Cross, we then get a moment of bliss with the New Day as special guests. Nikki Cross gives the New Day Scottish pancakes. New Day gives Bliss and Cross coffee beans. Bliss asks who New Day are keeping an eye on. They say the Forgotten Sons. They then ask that since Bliss and Cross have been dealing with Iconics on Raw, who are they keeping an eye on SmackDown? As they ask that, Bayley and Sasha interrupt. Bayley and Sasha say that they're the best team on SmackDown, and they put the women's tag titles on the map, and they will take the belts back whenever they want them. But for now, Bayley says Sasha is going to fight Bliss right now. And Sasha looks upset and isn't even dressed to compete. We do then get Bliss versus Sasha. Bayley and Nikki are on commentary. Match was good, as expected, with Sasha and Bliss. But commentary was great. Nikki was funny. Bayley was funny, reacting to Nikki. Cole was good because he couldn't do anything. Graves was funny because he just didn't talk for most of it because he just couldn't fight. Yeah, it was great. Bayley and Cross got involved in the end, which allowed Sasha to win by pinfall. We then get an update on Jeff Hardy, on the Jeff Hardy Elias situation. They say Elias is in a stable condition. Then it's time for Shorty G versus Cesaro with Nakamura. Good match. Shorty G won by pinfall. We then see a date with Otis and Mandy poolside. Mandy has a dream where her and Otis make out, and a whole bunch of other things happen. Before Otis does a cannonball that splashes Mandy, which wakes her up, and they make out anyway. Kurt Angle's on SmackDown now, and he says that he's looking forward to Edge vs Orton, but he is actually there to announce that Matt Riddle's coming to SmackDown. Backstage interview with Sheamus, and he says he's going to beat Bryan and will win the Intercontinental title because it's the only title he hasn't won, and he will become WWE's first ever Ultimate Grand Slam champion, which I believe is win all the active titles, although he hasn't won the Universal, but whatever. Money in the Bank, King of the Ring, and Royal Rumble. I think the only thing that Sheamus hasn't done is Intercontinental, Universal, and be Sole Survivor of Survivor Series. That's it. But then Bryan shows up, stomps on Sheamus' foot. Sheamus calls Bryan a dirty bastard. Main event time, and it's a semi-final match in the Intercontinental Championship tournament between Sheamus and Daniel Bryan. Pretty good match. Bryan won by pinfall after hitting the running knee. Toward the end of the match, Jeff Hardy showed up, which distracted Sheamus enough so that Bryan could hit the running knee. It was pretty much as Sheamus was setting up the Brogue Kick. But post-match, Jeff Hardy beats up Sheamus until he rolls away. We'll move on to 205 Live. This week's 205 Live starts with Tyler Breeze versus Tony Nese. Really good match. Nese won by pinfall after hitting the running Nese. It was a very back and forth match. And it's main event time, and it's Danny Burch versus Tahuti Miles. It was a pretty good match. Miles won with a schoolboy pin. And that was this week in the wrestling. Next week, won't have any pay-per-views on it. Might have Being Elite. And hopefully Carl will be back. I don't think he will. But also to look out for on the channel next week is our NXT Takeover in Your House predictions with me and Joe. I might be able to get somebody else in. Maybe Kyle might be able to come in to do that one. I'm hoping to get Jack on as well. That would be cool. And yeah, so we'll do that next week anyway. Other than that, thanks for watching and goodbye.